Up till this point, all of our variables have been assigned by an equal sign to some hard-coded value. Oftentimes, the value we want the variable to hold might come from a user input process. So, how do we assign variables at runtime based on what the user enters? Let's create the console application named String Input. Choose File, New Project. Make sure it's a C# console application. And let's go ahead and for the name, put String Input. Make sure we're in the JOSPro C# 2012 Chapter 2 folder in the subfolder of Lab 2.3. Click OK. The main method is created for us. Let's just write 4 lines in the main method for the program. Let's ask the user a question and wait for an answer. What are we going to ask them? For their name. So let's type in console.writeLine. And in here we're going to say, please enter your name. And on the next line, we want to figure out what their name is, and we'll capture that into a variable. So we'll make it a string variable called name. We will set that equal to console.readLine. What are we going to do with that? Hey, we're going to show them that we listened and we care by putting it in the output. So we'll go console.writeLine. And in here we will say, your name is, and the variable placeholder to hold the variable of name. Great. Now let's pause it at the end with a console.read key. Let's run and test this code. There it says, please enter your name. And on the next line, I can put my name, R-I-C-K, and it says, your name is Rick. Hit any key, the program closes. The application on the left and the application on the right only have one subtle difference. On the left, it dropped a line after asking the question and then had the user input. On the right, it's going to ask for the user input at the end of the line. In other words, the answer is going to be at the end of the question instead of below the question. Let's see how we can do this. Okay, here's where we left off. And just to show you it's really taking the user input of whatever we type in, let's run it one more time with a different name. What is your name? How about John Doe? And it says your name is John Doe. We want the John Doe answer to appear just to the right on the same first line as the question. One simple change will do that. Let's hit any key to exit this program, and let's change from right line to right. Let's run this and test. It says enter your name, and I say John Doe. Notice it wrote out the message, but it didn't drop a line. Now we'll hit enter. And it says, your name is John Doe. So the program on the left had the output on the left, where it wrote out the question, dropped a line for the user input. On the right, we see it wrote out the question, but the input stayed on the same line because we wrote it without dropping a line. In other words, console write line moves the cursor to the next line, but console write keeps the cursor on the same line. To illustrate the difference between write and write line, let's do another console application. Click File, New Project, and we're going to call this one Person Details. Click OK. And in the main, let's create 3 string variables for their name, their address, and their age. It looks like this. And now we'll do a console write so it doesn't drop a line. And in here, we're going to ask for their name like this. Please enter your name. The next thing we're going to expect is an answer. So let's say name equals console.readline. Now, let's ask for their address, which looks like this. Console write, please enter your address. Address equals whatever the user inputted at that moment with the console readline. Finally, let's do the same thing with age. Console write, enter your age, and the age is equal to whatever they typed in. Now, let's drop one more line, and then write out the answers to all of these. Here we're going to say console.writeLine variable placeholder 0, variable placeholder 1, in other words, their name and their age, lives at variable placeholder 2, which will be their address. So let's put the variables in the right order: name, age, and address. And so the program pauses for us. Let's do a console.readKey. Now let's run it. Okay, let's pull this off to the side. Let's say John Doe for the name. The address is 123 Tech Street in Washington State, and the age is 23. We hit enter. It says John Doe, 23, lives at 123 Tech Street, Washington. Now, what happens if we change write to WriteLine? Well, let's experiment with that. We have 3 writes to change. Let's go WriteLine here and WriteLine here. And for the third question, another WriteLine. Now let's run it. Notice it asks for the name, and the name entry is on the next line. So we'll say John Doe. Let's ask for the address, 123 Tech Street, Washington, and then the age, 23. Time for Lab 2.3, Skill Check 1. Take a moment to pause this video and challenge yourself to do this skill check. And that will do it for Lab 2.3 on capturing user input. Our next item, Lab 3.1, Structures.